You're listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast with Prep Baseball Wisconsin, breaking down the top high school prospects and featuring all things college baseball recruiting in a changing world. Hosted by Vinny Rottino, Josh Fields, and Andy Sroka, this is Badger State Ball.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Badger. What are we calling this now? Actually, I totally just blew up our name. Badger
State Podcast, right?
Badger State Badger State Ball Podcast. All right. Well, either way, it's been too long is the point, I guess, right there. Thanks for coming back, listening to us. It's been just a crazy summer, which is why there's been this little hiatus here, which we talked about it. I don't know, weekly, Fields, Vinny, like it just felt like we'd missed doing this, but now is the perfect time to get back into it as the fall. We're just right in the thick of the fall, which feels more important than ever, but it's winding down here relatively soon, which means we'll be headed into like a real true off season in terms of like the baseball season, which it kind of feels year round at this point as well. But with that said, it'll give us plenty of time to really talk about the summer, the findings, what we took away from this year as a whole. It was a really good year. This incoming senior class of 2026 is super fun, which we'll break down more in depth throughout this episode. But I am Andy Sroka, the host here, I guess, and we're joined by Josh Fields, Vinny Rottino. We got Nick DiBenedetto on with us. He's at a ton of our events in Wisconsin that we host. He's bouncing back and forth between the Rock, doing a bunch of stuff in Illinois. So you'll see him more and more, hear from him more and more as the weeks go on as well. So good to have him on. But yeah, Vinny, you want to give us your kind of updates? What have you been up to?
Yeah, so I've been covering the Milwaukee Brewers, hopefully the World Series winning Milwaukee Brewers this season. I know they are up against it I hate to say, Andy Soroka is part of Team Cheese now. He's been in Wisconsin now, a resident for a few years now, but actually grew up a Chicago White Sox fan, so thank goodness he's not a Cubs fan. But I think Nick DiBenedetto, also a White Sox fan, so anyway, yeah, hopefully the Brewers go all the way this year. That'll be a lot of fun. But I've been out covering the Milwaukee Brewers on the broadcast team, so I have been keeping tabs on everything that's been going on in Wisconsin, and it's going to be good to get back in the swing of things. So looking forward to getting back into this podcasting with this group. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Fields, give us your little update here too on what you've been up to. You've been doing a little bit of everything.
It seems like I'm just watching every baseball game in the Midwest right now. Yeah. I'm going back to Indiana this weekend, but been to Kansas a couple times, Indy again, and just living at the Rock as well. So just watching a ton and seeing a ton of really cool things happen on baseball fields.
Yeah, you are Fields is our resident company JUCO man in a way. So you've been out to like you said, Kansas City a couple times this fall. You've seen a lot. You were just at the Rock on Friday, right? Yeah, Friday for some junior college stuff there. So. Yeah, we'll talk about that too a little bit later this episode too, hopefully. Guys, well, with that, let's get into just the meat of the podcast here, which is our summer updates, which I thought just the natural way to kick things off would just be to talk about the class of 2026. These seniors are really fun. I know you haven't been doing this too long, both you guys, just all things considered, but I don't know, when you take a look at the top of this class, Fields and I have talked about this quite a bit, but we really got a chance to see for ourselves, I guess, how the athletes at this in this class compare to the rest of the country's top athletes at the senior future games. What stands out there is that all right, we knew Ezra Ligon, Caleb Ligon, twins, they're these stellar athletes. That we felt pretty good about that. But at the top, you have a Jace Matazinski, Ben Kugelich, all these guys. Even though Kugelich wasn't at the senior future games, it just felt like a really special group of athletes. The list goes on, Cal Moreau and Jack Brenner.
Tom Santarelli.
Yeah, exactly. Santarelli, for his size, he just ran a 6'7" at the All-American game. It's a really, really good group of athletes at the top, and that's what stands out to me when I kind of compare and contrast it to years past. But then at the senior future games, second annual senior future games this summer, we get to see it firsthand with Matt Azinski. Okay, like we feel pretty good about Jace. Like he was one of the most fun players to watch this spring for Hudson. Carries it over into the summer, and then getting to see him just truly break out at the Senior Future Games was amazing. Callan Tomsic, who we'll talk about a little bit later, he was another stud athlete at the Senior Future Games. Liam Hagland on the mound, just the terrific athlete, two-way player who had a great spring as well, and then really showed it off down at the Senior Future Games as well. So Fields, just you want to talk a little bit too about just Jace. This is one of your favorite players. Hard not to be, especially once you're around him in the dugout. I think you just come to realize like this is a guy that's impossible to not like, especially like as a teammate. He just kind of carries himself that way. But Fields, you want to talk a little bit more about Jace and just how awesome it was to watch this breakout in real time.
Yeah, just wanted to echo the fact that, awesome human being once you get in the dugout, just absolutely like energy, electricity factory realistically. Like this guy plays a legit shortstop. It's up there with some of the best Wisconsin shortstops we've seen. We've had some really good ones come through in the past years, like J.D. Dix, obviously, but he's up there defensively with them. It's a guy that can stick on the left side. The arm will play. He can make all the throws that he has to make at shortstop. It was really the bat that really just sort of like ticked up and continued to tick up over the year, and obviously at the Senior Future Games, like he won MVP. He just controls every single at bat. Mm-hmm. When he swings, he makes contact and he drives a baseball to all fields with strength. And what in the winter, Vinny, it wasn't like he looked like a good athlete, mm-hmm. but like I didn't expect him to test this well at this event. Like I think he shaved his run time down by like 0.4 of a second. Like it was some pretty crazy stuff. Like it made me change my evaluation on the athlete a little bit there. And obviously, like, athletes with this size and aptitude, like you just want to bet on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with Jace, what's so impressive about this kid is obviously, you're taking a look at just how he measured out at the Senior Future Games. 6'6", 60. It was 98 miles per hour across the infield, 102 mile per hour exit velocity off the bat. Just ignore those numbers and those insanely impressive metrics that he measured out as. But then I go back to what you two saw at a early spring, was it 2 years ago? Yeah. He's playing for Hudson, and he's not even, was he even in the starting lineup? He was playing backup shortstop in infield, and you guys saw the intangibles during infield. He was a sophomore at the time, right?
Yeah.
And he wasn't even in the starting lineup, or maybe he was, but maybe he's playing right field and batting like 7th, 8th, or 9th or something. And the way that you guys talked about the intangibles, that this kid was just all about playing like a crisp brand of baseball, all about energy, being a great teammate. And we saw that too in Wausau this winter at Fields, how he was like wanting to catch balls from the catchers after he was done with his day, and he wanted to be out there at second base to catch balls and try and pick every single ball that he could. Those kinds of intangibles show up on the field, and they showed up in a big way at the Senior Future Games, and then also he had the performance to back it up. He had a bomb, I think, in his first game in front of all the coaches. Everybody was all over this kid, and he took the biggest jump I've ever seen a player take in the state of Wisconsin. So, it's, yes, he's got all the physical tools and attributes. Yes, he can play. It's in-game performance to back up the things that we saw in the showcase. But then it's also the intangible factor that this kid is a winner. He wants to win. He wants to get to be the best player he can be. Is one of the most impressive things I've seen as the state director here in Wisconsin. I am all in on this kid. That's why I bumped him up. Biggest jump I think I've ever seen from a player from, what was he, 40? He debuted at 42 in 2023, and now he's the number 3 player in the state. This kid has a bright future, probably going to be a pro prospect at some point. He's a pro prospect right now. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if he ends up at Auburn, but it is really impressive.
Yeah, it was really cool to see like that explosion in real time at the Future Games, because the crowd, like he already generated, I think he came into the event with maybe a little bit of buzz. Like he had just been performing at that level early in the summer, and he's like what, 3. He can run, and he plays like a shortstop, a legit shortstop. So I think naturally coaches are just going to kind of keep tabs. But then he does it in the workout, kind of looks the part in the workout. And then the crowd size just kept growing bigger and bigger as the event went on. And I remember too, actually, I think he homered. Did he homer in the last game, or was it?
It was the second game. He nearly left the yard in the first game.
I don't think he squared anything up in the first game. Not that, I mean, he had kind of like, you can't always go whatever 4 for 4, but he had like earned a ton of like attention, and I think a ton of coaches were in whether or not he got a hit probably at the entire event. But just to like echo what Vinny's saying too, he had the most like even keeled, I felt like, approach. Like he plays like a really fun, like he's like brand baseball, but at the same time, just shook off any sort of any bad at bat or whatever, like bad result. Was not pressing hard at all, even though maybe he was coming up empty handed. And he smokes this home run in game 2. I think it was the last at bat of game 2. And it was so matter of fact, like he just didn't really, he was just like, yeah, I mean, I kind of expected that to happen at some point. Like he didn't say that, but that's almost the way he kind of presented himself, which was like, I don't know, that kind of like impressed me, just the level of like, doing it on that stage in front of those coaches and sort of pretending like, acting as if it's just like any other day. I think that kind of sums up the talent level and sort of the approach to the game itself too.
He's got the it factor for sure, and he sees spin. Like we saw that. Like a lot of these kids that face this kind of competition for the first time, like guys throwing hard, right? Not for the first time necessarily, but like on that stage with that kind of velocity and hard breaking stuff, and then he was able to stay back. Some kids will just cheat for the fastball, looking to get the head out, looking to drive something and kind of make a name for themselves in one at bat. This kid was like having great at bats, seeing spin on time for the heater, but also was able to keep his hands back on breaking balls. It was just an overall impressive event for Jace.
Yeah.
And let's not forget that he also hit 93 on the mound and spun a banger breaking
it's
ball.
hard. It's
the second time throwing at Lake Point that week as well, because he went viral on Twitter before.
Yeah, real slider too. Yeah, all of this has materialized like so quickly. I think for Jay, like what Vinny, you mentioned, like Fields and I, we saw him a couple years ago, or whatever it was, and I mean, he had things that like very few, no one else was really doing. Like he had size, he was tall, but he was also really, really coordinated and like fluid at shortstop. You could tell, and he always had like this arm strength. So he was doing things then that were like easy to kind of recognize just initially watching like a pregame or something. But the fact that he did not strike out very much at all this spring, and he was hitting a ton of extra base hits. It's like it all started to really click way sooner than I would have expected, and the fact that he's still got another full spring left, and it's going to be really exciting to see just how much higher he can kind of push this ceiling up to. So one of the more exciting storylines of the summer, Jace's breakout. So that was sweet to see. And it wasn't too long ago that I was down in Miami. I got to see Dominic Santarelli, our number 1 ranked player in the state, head down there, and kind of after just a whirlwind summer, I'm sure for him, he was just all over the place on like national stages just across the country. Kind of gets to end the summer, quote unquote, down with us at the Prep Baseball American Game. So it was great to see him. But we had a couple last minute dropouts, and it opened the door for some arms that we liked in the company to join us down there as well. And actually, I made a little bit of a vouch for Tyson Grokowski just because we're so high on him here in the state. And lo and behold, he joined us down there in Miami, and it was great to see him, the Muskego ace this past year. And he did exactly, Vinny, what you would have expected to do. Fields, like it was awesome. It was that hard sinker, it was like 89, 91, ton of strikes, sweeper, opposite direction. And he flashed the changeup too, which could be just maybe his best pitch one day, his best secondary. So it was really, really cool to see him down there. South Florida commit now. I don't think he had been committed since we last done a podcast. So South Florida is where his ultimate landing spot is. And seeing him on that stage just perform too, I think he got a 1-2-3 inning with some hard ground balls, which is kind of his game. I think if he levels up this spring, he'll just turn himself into even more of that right-handed pitching draft prospect as well. So it was cool to see him down there. you guys got
Yeah,
anything?
Yeah,
nice.
and you seen the changeup down there was actually pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Like that's more of a field pitch for him, and him having that on that day is just actually awesome for all these cross checkers and all these scouts in attendance to see.
Yeah, the broadcast too. We had like Sean Duncan, the president, was yeah, he didn't know Tyson or his game at the time, but he came away as a fan too. So that was it's cool to see that, like, kind of when people you trust it, you see what's gotten him to this point, and why we like him as a group, but seeing other people kind of witness that same exact stuff, I think is cool to see that. Some other guys here, like Fields, you want to talk? Chance Ruby, like, so this is a good case in that Chance technically like went down a spot, I guess, in our update, like from 5 to 6, but I mean it's not really even close, I think, to painting the picture of how Chance is projecting right now as like a prospect. It just happens to be a really special class right now, but all of these guys in the top, not just top 6 where Chance is, but like top 10 and beyond. I think all of these guys have like arrows pointed like pretty much north. But Chance has a like legitimate chance himself to become an MLB draft prospect. He's doing all the right things right now. But Fields, you want to like talk a little bit more on just him and his brand of play?
Yeah, I mean, he was potentially the best hitter on that GRB Sticks team with, I mean, Grokowski was on that team. He hits a little bit still. Kugelich was on that team. So, a lot of really talented hitters on that team. And, I mean, we've seen it for 4 years now. He's been top player in basically every team he's been at. I mean, he won Conference Player of the Year as a sophomore, and this summer he just leveled up, started driving the ball over the fence. I think he had 9 or 10 home runs, and then he added some more this fall. But you're getting for sure like top end athlete that if he's not playing shortstop, I've seen it look really good in center field, like asset defensively potentially in center field as well. So like a guy that can stay at the middle with a history of just quality at bats, barreling the ball hard, and really performing velo, spin in, off speed away. Like it doesn't matter with Chance.
Yeah, and we've seen such a high aptitude and IQ for the game of baseball too from him. So I mean, it's not only the tool set; it's just the ability to play the game, which I think is coming back in vogue, even in this world of showcase settings and trying to light up all the metrics and stuff, which I think is really cool. Like kids are understanding, like, hey, I got to learn the game. I got to learn how to run the bases well, play defense, have a great at bat. We've seen this kid have so many great at bats, but then also all the physical tools to go with it.
Yeah, did not strike out a ton this spring. I don't know if you had like the summer numbers or anything like that pulled up, Fields, but that's kind of his game too. He's just a bat to ball guy, but he's started to capitalize more on like doubles, home runs, like on the summer like main stage, which is great because then all of a sudden you have this right athlete who, like Fields said, if it's not shortstop, maybe it's center field. Either way, real athlete with bat to ball who's also like turning some of these like doubles into home runs. Like, yeah, we're really huge fans of Chance on this staff. And another one too, like I think that's really broken out this year, Jack Brenner. He goes all the way up from 24 to number 9 in our latest rankings update. He was such a likable kid last year at the Future Games, Vinny, and like just seeing this all turn into like becoming one of the best catchers in the Midwest, I think. And honestly, because this theme seems to be athleticism with this group of 2026s, like he's another guy feels right. Like maybe it's not even catcher. Maybe he's another like center fielder. Like I think that's like realistic. He's played a ton of middle infield as well, but like the athleticism off the charts, bat speed, bat strength, like if it's not catcher, like the door is open for some other positional fits.
Absolutely. It's just that I've heard some really, positive and optimistic reports on him behind the plate, potentially like being able to handle a high-end staff like that. So like, you're keeping an athlete but like that behind the plate, and that right-handed swing has only continued to tick up. It's so explosive at launch with just easy bat speed. It's a swing that you're gonna love. It's gonna swing that's really gonna play at the next level. And, just the twitch is off the charts with this kid, and you can get it at second, or you can get it at second. You can get it at middle infield. You can get it at center, even catcher. Like, which seems like it could be like a future home for him. Like continuing on, like that's a really good prospect, and like continuing the theme, it could be even a draft prospect.
Yeah, and talk about like this kid debuted at number 40 in the fall of 2023. I'm just looking at the old rankings here, and then, I mean, if you were to tell me, and I think we would have all agreed at the time, we always liked Jack Brenner. We always thought that he had tools and was twitchy. We loved the bat speed. The swing was compact, short, quick. If you would have said, though, that by the time he's a senior, he's going to be a guy that scouts are talking about, right? And he's going to be a top 10 guy, I think we'd have said, let's see him develop in college. But, I mean, this kid has turned himself into a top 10 player, ranked number 9 at this point. And the reason why this is the case is because, yes, he's got the physical tools. He's super athletic, yes. But you should see some of the texts that he has to me. He was constantly asking me, hey, everyone calls us coach, right? We're not their coaches, but hey, coach, or hey, Vinny, what do I have to do in order to get to where I want to go? This kid has always had the goal in mind to be one of the top players in the state for his class, and he made it happen. I mean, just so impressive, the amount of work that he's put in. But then, yes, he's got loads of talent to go with it, and he's now, kind of married the talent with the performance in game together, and it's been fun to watch and really root for this kid. Just awesome.
Yeah, you're doing yourself a favor too, and you're someone like Jack. Where I think when we talk about like prep catchers, like usually we're calling a player like, okay, they're carried by like the ability to catch, and like hopefully they can hit, or hopefully the bat catches up or whatever. They're able to make enough contact or like hit enough home runs or something to make it worthwhile, like as a whole, like prospect as a player. Whereas with Jack, it's almost in like reverse in a way. Like he can catch, the athleticism's there. It's almost like it's so athletic that he could play maybe even center field or something like that. Plus, you're getting the caliber of hitter that he's kind of shown and become over the last year or so specifically. So, really like a nice player who's like continuing to just trend up like a lot of guys in this class. Another one too. Trey Kirchhoff, like I feel like this fall I've been trying to do a little bit more like data diving into all of this the metrics that we take note of, and Trey just continues to be like at the top of everything that I'm like looking at. Feels like, have you seen some of the more recent at bats of Trey's that you can comment on?
Yeah, I saw Trey. I mean, at the end of the 17U weekend, I believe at the fall champions, but it's just another one of those like explosive at launch swings with field leverage the ball in the air. He's a strong kid that could play. He was playing first, but it's a corner guy. Could play second. Could handle shortstop in a pinch if you asked him to. But you're getting a hitter. This guy, I'd say he plays batter's box first and defense second, just because of how good the hit tool is, and that's not a knock on his defense ability, anyways.
Yeah, well, and he's like, it's always surprising to see, like he's like 6'6" runner, ton of bat speed, like just keeps getting stronger too, and it's a swing that like complements all of those things as well. So like Fields is mentioning, it's just a natural lofted swing that he makes use of in game, and he's capable of triple digit exits. He's just another good kid to be around as well, like who works really, really hard, and it's all just kind of happening for him at the right time here. So he's moving up all the way to number 12 in our latest update. Purdue commit now as well, so we'll see him in the Big Ten, which is great. Some others here, and just kind of hammering home the point of like the athletes in the class, like Ezra and Caleb Ligon committed to Bradley after the Senior Future Games, shortly after the Senior Future Games, I think. Both were like some of the best athletes just in general at the national event down in Georgia. Both like 6'4" runners. Ezra's left, plays center field. We've kind of talked about that in previous podcasts, why that like has him maybe higher in the rankings. But just in terms of like player, they're similar play styles, just from different sides of the batter's box. And Ezra, I thought, like looked just continues to look like a more complete player. Caleb gets it done in game. Another versatile athlete who can play a ton of different positions, like third base, maybe left field, something like that. So it was great to see them to commit to Bradley and kind of, have a continued bright future here moving forward. Some of the others down at the Senior Future Games that really popped. Cale Geiger ultimately committed to Yale this summer. he was one of the most interesting performers, I thought, at the Senior Future Games. No, Vinny, do you remember his outing down there?
Yes. Fields, why don't you start us off on him? I was just taking a look at one other thing real quick, and then I'll
Kale's
jump in
been
on Kale. Yeah.
Kale's a poor performer down there. We saw him really well leading up to it. A bunch of strikes with the fastball and the control, the command of the fastball seemed to tick up. He was feeling a lot more, throwing that pitch in the zone more, locating to different spots, and he has always spun this, really depthy, really firm breaking ball. I mean, he throws it in the low to mid 80s now, and he also has a changeup to pair with it. But we're talking about a three-pitch guy that throws a ton of strikes with his fastball, has a complementary secondary pitch that can get swing and miss in and out of the zone. It's Yale jumping on a guy like this is just not, it makes sense to me. Like, this is a guy that could, as a freshman, get you through the lineup once and then, continue to see his role grow as he, pitches in college.
And this was one of the more exciting performances for me at the entire week of the Future Games. Just because when you see a kid like this, like, these are the types of pitchers that you want to play behind. If you're a position player, like, he is pounding the zone with all three pitches, putting guys in the batter's box on the defensive because of how often that he is pounding the zone. Again, it was strikes with the fastball to all four quadrants. Like, that's who you want to play behind. And so we had a ton of interest coming in as he was done with his performance on the mound from some schools. And I agree with you. Like, this fit right here at Yale is a high academic kid, obviously. This is going to be a really good fit for him, and you never know what's going to happen with Kale Guy. It wouldn't surprise me if he jumped in right away, and you don't see this very often at D1 programs anymore, right, because of the transfer portal. Right away make an impact at Yale. Like, this is a winning pitcher. Just because of the way that he can field his position, he can hold base runners, he's quick to the plate, and it strikes with all of his pitches. So this was one of the more exciting performances for me, not only at the Senior Future Games, but the Future Games and the JFGs in general.
Yeah. No, it was great to see, and he had, because in that setting sometimes, like, with it being the Senior Future Games, like I remember last year's. It just feels a little bit more like the atmosphere is a little bit more nervous. Like, there's a lot more anxiety. Just you're 1 year closer to, needing to make a decision on college, things like that. So it always feels a little bit more tense with the Senior Future Gamers sometimes. But I felt like, honestly, our dugout was really light. Maybe Jace Metazinski had something to do with that. But, like, Kale Geiger too, like, kind of a low pulse. Like, he was just ready to pitch. He goes out, has like a super clean 2 innings of work. It was like 90-91, like everybody else said here on the podcast. 2-3 pitches, strikes. Like, there was nothing to not like about it. So that was awesome to see. Down there with him was Liam Hagland, who had a phenomenal summer in his own right, spring too for Germantown. But just really started to put it together this summer. One of the more athletic righties for me that I saw this summer. South Dakota State commit now. And Fields, I know you're like a Liam Hagland guy as well. So you want to talk a little bit more about his stuff too?
Oh yeah, I think one, you have to start with his breaking ball. Like, I think this pitch is going to get swing and miss like right away in a D1 conference next year, and I think it's going to just continue to get better, tick up, get sharper. That's a pitch that, down at the Senior Future Games and even at the state games, that performed well in game against batters in and out of the zone. We've seen the fastball get up to 91, and he also has a changeup. But I think this breaking ball has a chance to be just an offering that he could pitch backwards to around with. I think it's that good.
And he's a guy that is you can sense that he's gonna throw cheese, like big time cheese. I mean, it just feels like it the way that he moves down the mound. Super athletic athlete. So. Really like how he kind of moves through the delivery. Yeah. Really impressed.
Totally. A super high ceiling there for Liam. I'm excited to see what it's like in 2-3 years. Like that's just going to be an interesting case study, I think, for us. But another Senior Future Gamer that I wanted to touch on here, Joe Meter from Holman. I'm just a huge fan of his just because, yet again, we have another like physical, real athlete who joined us down there. All of the Wisconsin representatives down there at the senior future games side specifically just happened to be like just some of the classes Midwest best athletes. Like the event as a whole, like they performed really really well. Meter was right in there. He's one of like the most projectable right hand swings for me in this class. Just a ton of just natural easy power, bat speed. And factor in the athlete too, just like the raw strength there. I'm just a big fan of Joe Meters. He moved up in this latest update just outside the top 30, number 33 overall. Committed to North Dakota State within the last like month or so. So congrats there to Joe. But then I wanted to talk a little bit too about some of like the Wisconsin State games standouts. But one just at least metrically feels like Sam Manchester, another Hudson kid. I can pull up his stats here, but do you want to talk a little bit more about like his like in-game stuff that you've seen out of Sam?
I mean, yeah, both of us have seen it in the high school season. I mean, Sam Sam was a really like steady contributor throughout the season, but then like come May when the weather started to get warmer, I think Andy, you saw it first. I mean, he had a couple of hard at bats against some really good Kimberly pitchers. Even went yard against one of them, and then I went and saw Hudson after that. And, he just continued to perform, and even into the summer, this is a guy that just continued to hit and hit and hit. And then at the state games, we got to reassess a different look at the tools. And wow, he really jumps off the page athletically again, just continuing the themes. This is a guy that, 6'6" runner, 100-mile-an-hour exit velo with bat speed and feel it hit in game. Like, this is a guy that a lot of schools should be, in on. This is a kid that shouldn't be on the market for too much longer.
Yeah, I mean, there simply aren't very many players like with these kind of metrics, and I'll just run through them just to kind of drive the point home. But like Phil said, 6'8" runner, but I mean, there's burst there, bat speed. Yep, there's bat speed, some rotational acceleration, and then like there aren't athletes like this, left-handed hitters as well, who have like are looking to drive the ball and capable of hitting the ball 100 plus miles an hour either. So just the right combination of skills here for Sam, and just the fact that he's still on the market. 84 from the outfield, just kind of checks a lot of the boxes I think you're looking for. So Sam, still uncommitted, is someone that if you're listening to this looking for tools like that, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, then Sam is your guy.
Yeah, and just continues to just show up, right, and just show out well. A guy that's really jumped up the rankings for us. And I just want to touch on Joe Meter too. Jeff Francoeur comp for me. So Joe Meter really impressed with what he was able to do. I'm glad that he landed at South Dakota State. But yeah, Sam Manchester is going to be a winner and going to be a contributor at whatever program he ends up at.
Love it. And then Fields, I'll need you with this one too, because I was such a big fan. If I don't want to power rank like my favorite on the spot favorite performances from the Wisconsin State games or anything like that, but John Zemer to me had one of my favorite rounds of BP, and he got at least 2-3 hits. I'm not sure. I don't remember the stat line or anything, but he got at least a couple hits, like a double or triple or something. But you've seen him more than I have. Now he's committed to Madison Junior College, which is an awesome fit for him specifically. But can you talk a little bit more about John? Just it actually feels like we're still too low on him, frankly. I feel like he could be one of the top right-handed hitters in this class, plain and simple.
Yeah, I'm glad you went that route too, because I feel the same way. Like this, every time he steps in the box, it looks like I'm just pretty sure he's just gonna barrel a ball somewhere pretty hard. I mean, it's easy, easy power to all fields with the EVs to back it up, and there's bat speed, there's bat strength. It's on top of it, the in game, the looks are just super easy, super confident, super well composed. He is in control of all of his at bats, and I think this is gonna only continue to tick up just because of how good the bat seems to be, and I think he could at Madison compete for time right away.
Yeah. And I think that is the most exciting part. We kind of mention this every episode, in that like just the level of junior college, the importance of junior college just feels like it's rising as the portal, gains its own kind of level of like importance, and we're just seeing these commitments kind of get delayed, and like I don't know, it's kind of it's still chaotic out there, even though it's a change that's happened now for a couple years, 2-3 years ago. But with Zimmer's fit, I think that it makes a lot of sense because he might need, like, it's a solid, he's more athletic, I think, than you expect, or at least that I expected initially. Seems like he can handle, third base right now, but seeing him kind of get a little bit more polished, maybe at a place like Madison, will only benefit him. I think he's going to have a lot of options once he spends a couple years there under Coach Shell.
Absolutely, and we've seen guys like just get super polished and play the game really well after 2 years at Madison, as well as they just get super physical there as well too.
This is a really good fit, and I agree. I love how smooth, easy, and kind of loose the actions are in the infield. I think there is an opportunity here to stick at third base, but this kid is going to absolutely bang, and I love the fact. Look, that it is a little bit like the Wild Wild West out there right now in the transfer portal and everything, just because I think what we're going to see is we're going to see a lot of players use that as motivation to prove everybody wrong or prove everybody right? I don't know. It feels like there's going to be so much opportunity nowadays, even though I don't know. It just feels like, okay, so when you're a performer, you're going to be able to go ahead and move up. Or if you're like, okay, this wasn't a great fit for me, and I didn't get a lot of opportunity here at this school, I'm going to go ahead and transfer to a place where I'm going to get more of an opportunity, and then you're going to see guys ball out. I just love the fact that there's going to be a lot of opportunity for players. And Zimmer right here going to Madison College, this is a great fit, and I am excited about this kid as well.
Yeah, Madison's actually, there's been a ton of, especially lately, JUCO commits kind of coming left and right, but Madison's grabbed a few more interesting players I think worth mentioning here. Casey Dreesen, Gage Honeyegger, Clayton Chrishell, like really, really tooled up kid. That's another great fit. Winston Alonso, like one of the top ranked left-handed hitters. He might be the actual, other than Santarelli, might be the top ranked left-handed hitter on our board, but they grabbed him. Of course, his older brother went there, Edison, and was great. So I think that fit makes a ton of sense too. But yeah, feels as the resident JUCO guy, do you want to comment on the junior college fits here, Madison and beyond, that have kind of come through lately for us?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a ton of the 3 junior colleges in the state. I think are doing really well, like both, on the field developing their players and arrow up programs, as well as getting some really interesting commits. Like you said, Madison just got Clayton Chrishell. Every time I saw him, he hit the baseball hard and to all fields. Every time, like I said with John Zimmer, he was doing the same thing. And then Brian Stratton would get just committed to very interesting upside athletes. It could play really well on the mound or defensively and at the plate, but. Other than that, I mean, Brady Moans to MATC is a big left-handed hitter that, I think is just another bat that's going to play at that level. And then just keep going. Winston Alonso, even, I think that bat is just going to really play. Yeah. I mean, every time Winston Alonso for the last year and a half, it seems like all he has done is just hit and continue to hit. And you don't get a lot of left-handed hitters with this type of track record as Winston Alonso, finding a spot in junior college that he is. I mean, Winston Alonso chose Madison over some programs that on the D1 side or even the D2 side that he's betting on himself there, and that's a guy that could really perform well and really see his own stock tick up after Madison.
Yeah, it'll be. He's going to be an interesting one because on his trajectory, just kind of feels like after a couple of years of Madison, like he's going to genuinely have his pick of the litter where he wants to end up, at which 4-year he wants to end up at. So there's a lot. Yeah, go ahead.
And a lot of times we don't see this highly ranked of a player choose a JUCO, right? And so, like Fields just said, he's betting on himself to really perform here, and it's a player that okay, I really think this is an opportunity for me to grow and develop as a player and really reach my ceiling because he's got a super high ceiling. We've always loved Winston Alonso. That's why he's ranked number 11 in the state. We've always loved the hit tool. We always believed that this kid, besides Santarelli, this is the top left-handed hit tool in the class. So I like the fact that he chose a JUCO right here because he knows, like, all right, I'm going to step in right away and really develop.
Yep. Exactly. Another actually junior college commit worth mentioning here too from the state games, Caden Romans to Heartland is a really fun one actually because Caden is another really likable player, just an all-around asset. Plays the outfield really hard, competitive hitter in the box, left-handed. So the fit to Heartland actually makes a ton of sense on paper too. They do a great job, obviously, out in Central Illinois, and they're always winners and actually go head-to-head with Madison quite a bit. So seeing them get someone like Caden Romans, I think, is going to be fun to watch him kind of grow down there in Central Illinois too. So I want to mention that. Logan Wiersba, another out-of-state JUCO commit, Iowa Western. He's got a ton of potential. Logan is going to be in good hands out there. Landon Lasan, Rock Valley Junior College. I don't know. Am I missing any others? Oh, Paxton Shue, senior future gamer who commits to State College
senior
of Florida.
future gamer.
Yeah, like that's going to be awesome to see him down in Florida. Pitch against some of the best junior college talent in the country, frankly. So Paxton, good stuff there. I don't know. I'm probably leaving somebody. Braylon Brander, Iowa Central, I think is a really interesting fit for him, just because he just gets it done in game. So the state of junior college baseball talent pool here, I think in Wisconsin, there's a lot of like synergy actually, getting some of these guys out of state to kind of grow inside these junior college programs and really blossom there. Makes a ton of sense actually. So it's nice to see some schools kind of think the same way. All right, cool. Well, we can kind of, I think, maybe pivot. Vinny, what do you think to the 2027s? Are you good with that?
I actually think we should probably cover the 2027s in depth the next episode, right? Because we're already like 40 minutes in.
Yeah,
so
let's do that.
And maybe we should ask. We haven't asked Nick. Sorry, Nick, you're on the episode, man. Like, do you have any thoughts here on everything we just covered? Sorry to put you on the spot.
No, actually, Nick, this makes sense. This is good because Nick is going to give us like a totally, because we kind of like all talk a lot. Where Nick, I think, is going to be looking from the outside looking in and just give us a couple of different names that he's seen. Nick has a great playing career at Loras College. Like he knows what he's talking about. So yeah, Nick, if you see something here that really stood out to you this summer or fall, give him a shout out here.
Yeah. Well, just at the state games, I really liked Liam Hagland on the mound. It looked really clean, really easy. And then Sam Manchester, just kind of being an overall athlete. He looked really good when I saw. Other than that, I mean, you guys basically covered it all. I hadn't seen too much of the Wisconsin stuff this year, but looking forward to seeing a lot more Wisconsin players.
So Nick,
I'm going to tee you up here.
Well, real quick, Nick, is Sam Manchester probably you? Just in terms of how you play. You were a left-handed hitter, weren't you?
No, I was.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right.
Man, but you like? I remember.
Bergen on.
Yes, you like Bergen on.
Yeah,
Bergen on. Another Hudson.
Yeah,
lots of Hudson shout-outs here. So Bergen, Nick D. Benedetto, he was like, hey, who's this guy? Who's Bergen on? I was like, it's Bergen on. There you go.
You saw it good with the bat and on the mound, right,
yeah,
Nick?
Yeah, two-way.
Yeah, he looked good as a two-way.
Yeah, so that's the Nick D. Benedetto corner here. Now next week, you're going to need to dig out like a 2027 since we're talking about them next week. So you're going to have to shout out like a deep cut 2027 for us. I think that'd be great.
All right. Yeah, I'll get on that.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll stay on the 2026 this year with that. Actually, that's a good call, Vinny, because there's plenty like material from the state games that we can kind of continue to get into here. Like Gavin Weisenberger moved all the way up to 32 in this class. And I know his outing at the state games wasn't great. Like I think the strikes were tough on this day for Gavin, but I mean the talent is still like. Trending towards like the elite side and like among like Wisconsin players. He's a great two-way athlete who only just feels like he's really starting to figure it out just on either side of the ball. Actually, Fields, you may have seen him just a little bit more than I have there. Committed to Parkside now, but do you want to comment on Gavin and just kind of his?
Yeah, this is just a two-way athlete. I mean, I saw it personally better at the state games, and like you said, on the mound, it was, there was some loud stuff. Around the zone, this stuff is going to play, but there was just some control issues. I mean, with this guy, I mean, immense ceiling on both sides of the mound. Personally, I don't know what he's going to end up being, but with what I saw at the bat, I think Parkside is not only just a great fit, but just a place where, he's also going to challenge for playing time right away and be able to, I mean, grow and develop. I think Sharps over there does a great job with getting, baseball players that just continue to get better.
Yeah.
And talk about Parkside fits real quick. Is Zach Rizzo picked Parkside as well? I think that's going to be a good opportunity for him. Unfortunately, he was invited to the Senior Future Games, but had a little bit of a knee injury, and it looks like he's back and healthy. So another Parkside fit that's gonna really have an opportunity to ball out and figure some things out. Yeah, we always like
Ben
Zach.
Jones committed to Parkside as well. Ben Jones had a terrific spring for McQuanago. Just a physical right-handed pitcher who just really pitched basically in game. Like there's a chance he's going to grow into some more velocity there too. He's a really, really strong kid. But yeah, like Fields mentioned, like Vinny mentioned, Parkside has been doing a really, really good job, especially lately. They committed Brett Paulson, who we've actually not seen before in event, but Fields got to see him at the WIA State. Was it the semifinals that he pitched for Kiwani? I think it was.
It was the
Yes.
it was the semifinals, and then he actually pitched for JRB North at the Rock a couple times.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, strike throwing left-hander with 2 pitches. I mean, he throws a hard breaking ball, and I mean, he's up to 88. It kind of speaks for himself. Like strikes, left-handed, 2 pitches. I mean, he's gonna pitch a lot in college.
Yeah. So the Parkside's doing their homework here, which is it's fun to see the competitiveness come out of these Wisconsin-based programs who kind of find the diamonds in the rough among each other. So Parkside's been doing a great job with that, especially lately. So some other 2026s here I want to mention here. Well, I guess Fields in the do you want to talk about maybe some fall like Stan, or he might have had to hop off here? Maybe not.
I think he had to bounce.
He did? Okay.
He had a doctor's appointment.
Yeah, but some other state gamers in that case, like Jason Randolph from Wauwatosa West, Vinny, another just kid who had just a strong summer, and like I was super eager to see him specifically at the Wisconsin State Games. Ended up like doing a great service for himself, running a 6'6", basically a 6'5'9". Flashed some legit like right-handed power, played in game. There were some college coaches talking about him, and then ended up watching him throughout the gameplay of the event here. Like when you get to this point where the 2026 class now, seniors, like you're kind of looking for athletes capable of playing middle infield, shortstop, and Jason is definitely that guy. So he's one I think worth mentioning here, especially because he's still uncommitted. So that was a big one. Damian Kasempa committed to Maryville, which is a good fit for him. D2 Maryville. He's someone who had a good spring for Marquette, and I know the coaches over there, Sal Banda, is pumped for him. So that's awesome.
Yeah, he is just a guy that's just going to be a winner wherever he goes, and we've always kind of taken note of that about Damian, and really can spin a breaking ball, throw strikes. Talk about a guy who can kind of do all the intangible things to help a team win. One of those guys you always want on the mound. And this Jason Randolph kid is, just impressive. You love the job that Milwaukee Baseball Academy does, just with their athletes that they get there. This kid has obviously ticked up quite a bit, and probably sticks in the middle of the diamond. Ran a 6'6", got a smooth right-handed swing. He's only going to get better, like what I see from.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, that sounds. I mean, maybe we'll just put a pin on that. I'm sure we'll talk about plenty of these guys here as the fall.
Lots to talk about on the podcast moving forward, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there'll be downtime here. Yeah, go ahead, Vinny.
I think we were planning on kind of covering everything that we missed this summer from the podcast standpoint, just in terms of the 26s, 27s, 28s, maybe even touch on 29s in this episode. And now we're over 45 minutes into this, so I think we're probably going to cut it off here and then talk about the 2027s next week.
Yeah, no, I like it. Like that's a good plan of attack here. So let's put a pin in the 2027s, which it'll be a fun episode next week in that case, because 2027s, that was the group that we brought down to the Future Games this past summer. So it was a really good group, and it'll be fun to break down those guys as well as the other 2027s that really stuck out throughout the spring and summer, who weren't necessarily Future Gamers but totally deserve some more attention. So we'll get to them as well next episode. Maybe then, how about Vinny? You just take us directly into your Rottino Report. That's a big one.
Yeah. So today we're talking about one of the top performers from the Senior Future Games is Callan Tomczyk. Just impressive what he was able to do this summer, end of July at the Future Games down in Lake Point. I mean, he just consistently was all over the barrel, was getting hits in game, multiple hits in each of the games. Not only that, I mean, metrically he was off the charts. Ran a 6.45 60, one of the top 60 times among all the Senior Future Gamers. It was 91 from the outfield. Likely going to stick in the outfield at the next level, but there's no telling. I mean, this kid was he can spin a breaking ball. He's almost I think we've seen him in the high 80s off the bump. So, I mean, there's potential two-way opportunity here for him at the next level. Ranked 21st in the class, still uncommitted, surprisingly. One of the top athletes, I would guess, around the Midwest that would be uncommitted. So, really like Callan Tomczyk. I mean, it's a compact swing. There's all kinds of IQ here. He can run the bases, steal bases. There's not a lot that Callan isn't able to do on the baseball field. So looking forward to seeing where Callan Tomczyk ends up, because whoever lands him is going to get a top-end athlete that can play the game.
Yeah, just to put an exclamation point on that too, Vinny, so Jace ended up being, which I don't even think we talked about, but he was the actual MVP of the entire Senior Future Games for his kind of performance overall. Callan was probably the runner-up vote getter.
Yeah.
I think he led the entire event with 6 hits, I believe. I think he was like 6 for 7. His last hit might have been a home run. He tomahawked a homer, I remember, in the event itself too. So it was like you were kind of getting everything with him. You know, like Vinny mentioned, 6'4", runner with tools, but bat to ball obviously here as well. And he put a ball over the fence against one of the better arms in the country, uncommitted arms in the country, who made their way down there as well. So seeing him, he rose all the way up to 21 in the state in our most recent rankings, but he's what I would call one of the top uncommitted athletes in Wisconsin for sure. So shout out to Callan. It was great to see him there, and he carried that performance over the rest of the summer and fall as well. So it didn't stop or start at the Senior Future Games. That was just kind of what he does. So good stuff out of Callan, Muskego kid. All right. Well, that sounds good. I think we'll just put a pin in the episode from there. We're back. We're back, Vinny.
We're back. And in my studio, our house is under construction, and we just moved. So we'll get working on a better studio with some stuff.
Yeah,
going.
we need the backdrop. The backdrop was well. No, I wasn't even referring to the showcase, but I was referring to you had a great collection.
Yeah, in the basement. Yeah, you got to figure something out.
Yeah,
coming up.
Now you need the showcase backdrop, I think, in the background. So
that's right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have one more event coming up this year. This fall, Sunday, October 19th, we'll be at ISA Academy, Impact Sports Academy in De Pere, Wisconsin, and that's our last event of the calendar year, which is crazy. But we'll announce some of our winter preseason stuff relatively soon here, I believe. So be on the lookout for that, for an event to attend in 2026. I think that's it. What time did the Brewers play today, Vinny? I don't remember.
Oh, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, guys. Here we go. And if you're going to go to the game, maybe troll some Cub fans and bring an umbrella because they were worried about the being in the sun with the roof half open. Yeah, a couple of days ago. So maybe bring an umbrella to a night game just to have some fun trolling.
Yeah, that's a good call. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good to be back. Good to see you, Vinny. Thanks for jumping on, Nick, as well. I think that'll cover it for this latest episode of Badger State Ball Podcast. Yeah. We'll go with it.
We'll come up with an outro.
Yeah, that's it.
See you guys later.
Thanks for listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast. To keep tabs on our latest events, rankings, and coverage, subscribe or follow the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and follow us over at Prep Baseball WI on X and at prepbaseballreport.com/Wisconsin. Until next time,